There was a city enveloped with the hustle and bustle of a modern town, with its shining lights, speeding cars, relentlessly occupied people, galloping streets, towering buildings, and all the essences that paint a city. There were, however, some facets very peculiar to the place. Every neighborhood had a complex, up and running machinery that looked like a gigantic tunnel. Nobody knew how it worked, yet every man helped in its operation somehow, never trying to question the enormous snake, always abiding by its laws and flaws. Whenever the grim machine whispered an unfortunate name, the body bearing that name was pulled by a force unknown, clutched, dragged, and removed until he or she stood at the mouth of the tunnel. Everyone knew what was going to happen next, but none dared to interfere. Some people were summoned to this enormous reptile several times and the others only once or twice. None liked their name being called out, but once the tunnel announced a name other than theirs, they became hysterically eager to see his or her label being made. Man or woman, child or adult, sane or insane, every being had been a guest to this befouled tunnel. There is, however, nothing to worry about this never-ending cycle. The utter unnaturalness of it had made the endless loop pretty natural. The conscience of the masses was fully in its grip. Let me now show you how this tunnel has been in service for years. It was a starless night when Naman and his companions started to discuss the political preferences of each other. I am not actually in support of all the actions of this government, though I do not completely deny the works, began Naman. As soon as the words were out of his mouth, there came a horrific bombast of a cacophonous sound from the evil tunnel, announcing Naman's name. That was it. He knew what was to follow. It was as if the tunnel sucked his body towards it. He tried to cling onto anything and everything, but was forced to a stop only at the sinister entrance. He was dragged in. A huge crowd of people buzzed outside to watch Naman's misery. There was just a feeling of chaotic curiosity among them. Nobody pitied the boy. After an hour of screaming and screeching, Naman came out from the other end of the tunnel, anti-national branded on his head, blood dripping down his nose from his forehead. Everybody was horrified at the sight. The people at the back were standing on their toes, eager to witness the disaster. Then they scrunched their noses in disgust. Some clicked their tongues, and some shook their heads in disrespect of the boy. Signs of a label or two branded on each of their own head. This tunnel had a big responsibility to label every person that goes against the stringent norms and dictates of the society. The question, however, remains: who invented this machine? What bricks were used in its concrete construction? Actually, the tunnel was alive, flesh and blood, made with the distinct features of all the people of the respective neighborhood.